Kolas. Good afternoon. Dear friends,
in concluding the 33rd Greek Economic Summit Annual Conference on the subject of Greek bets in challenging times, we'll be discussing one of the more critical topics for the development of Greek economy. We'll be discussing the investment prospects in Greece in a new reality currently shaped. It's a great honor and joy to have with us Mr. Adonis Georgiadis, Minister for Development and Investments and Deputy President of Nea Demokratia. Welcome, Mr. Minister. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It is for me the honor, and actually concluding this two-day conference, which was extremely rich with very important participations and a lot of news. I want once again I would like to thank the Chamber for the excellent cooperation we had from the first day. We believe there have been some good results in my mandate, but in order to reach that point, you also did some job in the Chamber. Thank you. In the last 2 days, we had the opportunity to discuss the development course and the new paradigm our country follows, the new funds from the RRF and the great absorptions and the great performance in the subject of attracting foreign investment in our country, and obviously the Hellenic American trade relations and investments. But also we explored the great challenges from increasing inflation, geopolitical disruption, the increased energy cost that create a broader environment of concern, especially in Europe. How do you believe that this concern will affect the really ascending trend of attracting a direct foreign investment in Greece? And what can we do so as to continue being an attractive investment destination? Let me merely say that indeed the last 2 years, both 21 and 22, we've had 2 consecutive years with a record of direct foreign investment. And I can certainly tell you, addressing this query, that 2023, despite the crisis, it will break another record. And why can I be that confident? Well, I see what happens. I will bring something new today. Today, we concluded the first quarter of the cycle of the new development law on tourism. When we adopted this new development law, we were criticized in the parliament because we had set very strict criteria for someone to file a request for inclusion. In order to do that, one must have secured written bank funding, that is, have front-load all the necessary capital. And this had triggered huge concern in the parliament on whether there will be interest, given that that would be a very strong hurdle. That is, no one can make a request unless it has the available funds available. Within the first 3 quarters of this law implementation, 561 projects were submitted of 1.6 billion euros, and it's only 1 quarter under one regime. What does this mean? That means that not only where no one has been averted, but actually we have an unprecedented raise and with a secured funding. So if you take also into consideration that we've got a part of loans in the RRF, 10 billion euros approved investment plans were currently in the process, and they will be implemented in 2023. And if you also take into consideration the request to RA and AdMIE for renewable energy sources of several billions, all that aggregated show that we already have secured this record for 2023. Therefore, there's no issue. The velocity with which investments are made in Greece is huge. Now, why is that? I can elaborate if you so wish. So is everything a rose garden? No. Of course, we would definitely prefer not to have the crisis, not to have the Ukraine war. We would be far better if interest rates were low, as it was last year's. Everything would have been much better. But even in this situation, the demand for investments in Greece is extremely high. And I remind you, both the European Commission forecasts for the development of Greek economy in 23 and 24 and that of the IMF make special reference to investments, and they consider that they will play the primordial role for the development. That's most important. It's interesting that many economists express an optimistic view that these challenges, as you mentioned them, are common to all, they're international. They are not indigenous problems in Greece, as was with the previous crisis. On the other hand, Greece managed to deal with a very important pandemic and financial crisis, and perhaps has developed a potential of greater resilience. This, in combination with the credibility it has restored and the RRF, perhaps we are at a far better position to exploit opportunities. What are these opportunities, you think? Well, I'll say something which is not very comfortable, but this happens often to me. Our bankruptcy in 2010 is now an advantage in the current conjuncture, and I'll tell you why. Vis-à-vis our public debt, it is mostly up to other countries and ESM, and with locked interest rates for many years ahead. So 82% of the Greek public debt is not affected by the increase of interest rates. There's no other case of other country that has such a well-secured public debt as ours. Second, in the fear that Europe has that the abrupt increase of interest rates will trigger a great cycle of red loans and great exacerbation of debting to companies and households, we are exempted because the previous decade no one had this problem. And they managed to keep those who kept their loans would pay 4 and 4.5 interest rates. This is what we had during the MOUs. Therefore, our lenders have already survived from such a crisis, and the weakest of them did not take any loans. So we are better equipped. We've got, if you like, antibodies in such a disease. Third, Greece has another additional advantage. This crisis is interlinked with the energy. It is also an energy crisis. Actually, the main problem arises from there. But in this new environment of the energy crisis, now Greece acquires all of a sudden advantage. Renewable energy sources, which is something that we can produce in abundance, we are allowed by the exposure, geographical position, sun and wind. We no longer not only have competitive prices that we had to subsidize in the past due to the various funds for the pollutants, now have become extremely competitive as a price. It's cheaper to produce energy from wind than natural gas. So it is an incentive for someone to produce green energy. And where is one to produce such an energy? Where it is in abundance, therefore in Greece. So with what we have already approved, that and RAE, our national goal, which was to generate 20 giga from renewable energy sources until 2030, is attained with the license we have issued now between March and August of 2024, 6 years ahead. And now we will increase the goal from 20 to 30 giga by 50%, precisely because we have huge investment interest. And if we had the grid ready, which limits us now, we could have done even better. And with regard to tourism, which is the other part of our economy, important pillar, you know that Greece is the only country throughout European Union which in 2022 has great tourism revenue since 2019, which was the record year. We are above that. The rebranding of Greece has greatly helped in tourism as well. The major chains that we have attracted and which are currently built here, Four Seasons, One and Only, and so forth, give access to clients which we did not have. And in Enterprise Greece, there is a request for licensing for strategic investments. The first hotel, which one? Of Goldman Sachs. The very first hotel that Goldman Sachs wants to establish. Imagine, we will have the first hotel of Goldman Sachs. That means that such a company puts its trust. The clients it will attract will be high caliber, because this is a tourist model we want to attract, and this shows the size of the change. Now, if we are to take into account as well this, if we also combine that with the Gladstone hotels that came, there are major changes here in Greece, and have also attracted investments in the field of high technology, which is most interesting for me. Suffice to say that on Thursday morning, we will be inaugurating with the Prime Minister the new huge digital data center of digital reality. It has been inaugurated, the foundation were laid last year, and now we'll inaugurate the first building of 9,000 square meters, and they are preparing for another 2 buildings. And additionally, we've got Microsoft, Digital Realty, Google, Pfizer. We have a series of big American investments in high technology that radically change the image of the country.
Now, 2 questions, one on tourism and one on the economy. Now, from tourism, what we can see from studies and surveys from the actual transactions, a huge interest in the field of tourism. From a recent survey by Deloitte, Athens is ranks 9th as a city in respect with the attractiveness of investments, and Greece is on the rise as a destination for investments. But we see that these investments primarily have to do with the purchase, with the acquisition and the upgrade of tourist infrastructures. How can we have more greenfield and composite investments? Well, it's not just that, says the minister. I could mention 15 off the cuff that start from scratch. One and only CGR, for instance, the big Arab project on the island of Crete. So it's both, I would say. But I believe that the economy works when there is duration. Those like Blackstone or Goldman Sachs who make renovation of old hotels, if they see that it works and it walks, they will stay, because they are very hesitant to enter a market that had a bad reputation in the past. And I would like to say that here Deloitte has helped us tremendously. And I want to say this. Deloitte is one of the investments in my tenure that makes me very proud as to how they have progressed in the country and in Thessaloniki in particular. Now, this is a very good pass, I would say. You fed me a straight one regarding the digital competence and the digital innovation center with the epicenter, with the center rather, of Thessaloniki. We have Deloitte, Pfizer, Chubb and others. How can we enhance this wave in the rationale that in order for it to carry on, we need sufficient, talented, well-educated, well-skilled personnel? Well, in the RRF, we have a very big amount for the upscaling and rescaling of our labor force, because there is a problem there. The investment by Pfizer showed something very important that is very interesting for the Balkans. So it appears that we have a reservoir of people with skill, and they will try to find a good job near their countries, and Greece gives them such a possibility. So the more investment of this type we attract, the more our power will be. And we have a fund abroad from Greece that left in the past, and reservoir rather, and they will come back if they have a good opportunity for a job and continue their career in Greece. So with a combination of all three, I believe that we will have the necessary workforce that we need, the human resources we need. I believe that this will be the most important asset of the country in the years to come, obviously, says the minister. Right, I would like to keep this optimism that Greece is at an excellent position to utilize these opportunities and to deal with the problems that we can see. I would like also to hold on to the necessity to intensify the reform work and not to rely on... Do you think that we're relying, that we're appeased here or anything? Quite the contrary. We want to get it over with the elections and have a second tenure, and to do our work. In the next 4 years, Greece will be an absolutely European country with an absolutely free economy that will be fully digital, and I'm very optimistic. Because if in these 4 years, with all this adversity we have reached so far, in the next 4 years, where I trust adversity will not carry on, will be even better. But since we're closing, I want to say this. As I was entering the hotel, I had a beautiful surprise, and I want to thank Mr. Bakatselos from the bottom of my heart. That is essential, and I would like to thank him personally. When I was appointed as Minister of Investment and Development, Syriza had decided to close down the Syriza factory in Athens, which is a traditional factory, a big one. And generations of Greeks had combined themselves with it, and they said that the previous government had signed to fire everyone with respect to their rights, of course, and to transport and carry and to move production to Turkey. This hurt me, you know. And in this effort, I met with Mr. Bakatselos. And he made a proposal with Pyramids, and it was a very difficult thing. It wasn't easy. It required my intervention, an intense intervention in closing the deal. But the deal was closed, and the factory is operational. As I was coming in, I was I saw the first mobile kitchen oven from Pyramids with the signatures of the workers who found work, the previous Pitsos employees who found employment in Pyramids. I want to tell you that this gives me a big personal pleasure, joy, to see that people who'd be out of job still have a perspective and a prospect in their lives thanks to what I did as well. But it's also a source of national joy. That means that Greece can still remain competitive. Tourism alone and energy alone will not suffice to make Greece great. We need to become a productive company. We need industry. And I believe that Greece can make it happen. In 2 or 3 years from now, our production from renewable energy sources will be very high, and the prices of power and electricity will be lower in Greece, where it's very high. Our competitive disadvantage right now, which is energy, will be an advantage, and our productiveness will increase. And we need to be ready with all this rescaling and upscaling programs to be ready to produce the necessary human resources to staff these companies. And I have a lot of appetite to work on that. And this is very positive, and I would like to work on this, and I would like to close with a single thing. We have 90 years since the establishment of the Hellenic the AmCham in 1932. Over these past years, we have tried a lot. We have contributed greatly in the development of the relationships between Greece and the United States. The dialogue on prospects and perspectives of the two countries and prosperity as well. I would like a brief comment on your behalf regarding new ideas, new collaborations, how we can contribute and help the ministry in attracting new investment in the next 10 or 100 years. The Hellenic-American Chamber of Commerce, and I'm the Minister of Chambers, you know, in Greece, is a model. The AmCham is a model in how it works, a model in the level it maintains, a model in the way the members of the chamber work amongst themselves. Over this period of time, we attracted huge American investments in Greece for everyone, and the AmCham played a huge role, a huge positive role. So the people of the Hellenic-American Chamber and the chairman thereof in this success. It's not a personal success of Mitsotakis or of Georgiadis, this success. It's a national success. We had, over this period, we had the best possible relations between the US and Greece. I was always pro-American, always. I'm not trying to hide it. Now I find more friends who are also pro-American, and this is very pleasant. I would like to say that for me, the future of Greece is in enhancing its strategic relationship with the United States of America. The US is the leader of the Western free world. It is the land of democracy. What their anthem says about the land of the free and the land of the brave are actual true words, not just words. And Greece throughout its history, since the revolution of 1821, even from the American Revolution, there were Greeks who fought in the American Revolution for independence. Until today, We were never on poor relations with the US, so these excellent relations are very good defense relations that are excellent and very close. If we can combine them with equal economic relations, prosperity for the Greek people will be unprecedented. And this, I must say, the AmCham has played and is playing a huge role. They are the institutional partner of all Greek governments to this effect. They're the face and the first face of Greece in the United States, and the first face American investors see when they come in Greece. I want to thank each and everyone who has worked in favor of this prosperity and all these records broken, investment records recorded by Elstat. And tomorrow at noon we will have the Q3 of 2022 development and growth rates. For all these, you have played a tremendous role. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And I believe that it is with these words we can close the 23rd GES. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.